If you've ever run a workshop, a brainstorm, or even just a meeting, you've probably been in the scenario where you've wanted to ask one or more people to shut the F up. My name's Brittany. I'm a workshop designer and facilitator. I'm also Canadian, which means that not only do I know how to get people to shut up, I know how to do it really, really nicely. Perfect. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. Shoo-ba boo-ba, boo-ba, boo-ba. If this is the first video of mine that you're ever seeing, well, welcome. I'm glad that you're here. If you are someone who facilitates workshops or meetings, or just wants to be a little bit better at kind of like organizing a room of people, this is definitely a channel for you. So you might want to hit the old subscribe button if you want. And if this video is interesting to you and you like it, then you should tell me that you like it by liking the video. It's wild, all these things we can do on YouTube. You know, you can subscribe, you can like things, you can comment, whatever. I love it all. This video is gonna be quick, it's gonna be super helpful and applicable literally immediately. So you're welcome. Just kidding. I hope you like it. Okay, so in this video today, I'm gonna talk about 3 specific scenarios when you might need to get someone to shut up. The 3 scenarios are 1, when someone is getting off track, 2, when they are questioning your process or the exercise or the format of your workshop, and then 3, when they're just simply talking a little bit too much. Okay, so those 3 specific scenarios cover a lot of ground, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to say it in order to get them to zip it, get them to stop talking, get them to shut up. Even saying shut up feels like a bit intense for me as a Canadian. We don't like to be rude, ever. Okay, scenario number 1, when someone is getting off track. And what I mean by getting off track is you have a very specific challenge that you're working towards, and this person might be adding information that is just completely out of scope with what you're actually working on. And therefore, they could take the team in a completely wrong direction, which is pretty problematic for you as a facilitator. So the first thing that's really important in this scenario is you need to set up in the room already something called a parking lot. And this is something where you are going to collect things that come up in the workshop, comments, questions, concerns that are out of scope for the challenge at hand. So this happens in every workshop because you get a lot of people together in the room. People have, concerns and they have different challenges that they're bringing to the table. So you want to have a place where you can where you can park, that's it, those types of comments or questions. Okay, so if someone is bringing something up and that is completely out of scope for your challenge, here's what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, I'm really glad that you made that point. I think it's really important that we actually do dive into that. I think for today, it's a little bit out of scope for what we're working on. And I fear that's such an important challenge to discuss. It actually deserves its own, session or its own time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this Post-it and I'm gonna write it down. And I'm gonna put this Post-it in our parking lot. And then we are gonna talk about this after the session. We're gonna talk about it tomorrow, next week, whatever, and set the time that you are then going to get back to them about this very topic, okay? So really, really critical when you use a parking lot is that you do actually go back to it and make sure that you address the things that you wrote in it. That can often happen that you create this parking lot and you're putting things in it and then you just completely forget about it. And then people just really lose trust in you as a facilitator, which kind of sucks. So make sure if you're gonna use a parking lot that you do it properly. Okay, the second scenario that you might come across is when someone is questioning your process, whether they're questioning the actual workshop, the format, the exercise that you want them to do. It doesn't really matter. They're basically like, why are we doing this? I don't want to do this. Oh, I'm not good at that, so I'm not going to do it. That kind of scenario. And it happens quite often, especially as workshops are becoming more and more popular, right? People will have bad experiences and they're bringing those into your session, which can be pretty disruptive. So in this scenario, what you're going to remember is that no one is interrupting or being disruptive just for the sake of it, right? They're not like, oh, I've come into this workshop today to make sure that Brittany's life doesn't go very smoothly, and I'm going to make it difficult for her, right? That's very, very, very rare unless you have enemies floating around, which, hey, maybe I do too, and I don't even know about it. So having said that, what you're going to do is you're going to ask a very clear and simple follow-up question. You're going to say, can you tell me more about why you think this exercise isn't applicable for our challenge, or why you think this process isn't going to work, or why you think that, whatever it is that we're doing here today isn't going to have a proper outcome, right? So you ask them a follow-up question, very direct, and it's not accusatory, it's very open. Right? That's the nice part. You could even be smiling, but not like sinisterly, just like a normal smile, like a half smile. That's, you know what? Amounts of smiling should be entirely its own video, right? So I've noted that down and put it in the old parking lot. Okay, the point that I'm trying to make here is by asking them a follow-up question, you're gonna do two things here. First of all, you have acknowledged their concern. You've said, hey, I'm trusting that what you're saying is valid. I just need more information. And then the second thing is you're gonna get more information, right? By asking the follow-up question, all of a sudden you have more to work with, and you can actually deal with it a lot better than if you just jump into defense mode, right? Because usually in this type of scenario, our instinct is to defend our process and defend the exercise and come back and be like, no, this always works really well, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work though, because we have no idea why they are questioning it. And that's a problem. So once you know the reason, it could be anything. Oftentimes it's because they had a bad experience, a little while ago, and they're bringing that energy into the room with them, right? So then maybe they'll say to you, well, yeah, we did this exact same workshop 3 weeks ago and nothing came out of it. We worked really hard, and then, we just left it in the room and it got taken nowhere, right? So obviously they're frustrated. And then you can say, that sounds really frustrating. I can completely understand how you feel, that obviously this will probably be a similar scenario. However, I have designed my workshop to have very clear next steps, and I've even implemented a follow-up session so that we can make sure that all the work we do here is actually going to go somewhere, right? So whatever their concern is, likely you'll have a response that will make them feel heard and will relax them and make them feel really confident in you as a facilitator. So the follow-up question, also really key anytime someone asks you a question where you're like, whoa, what? It's a very powerful move. Ask a follow-up. Okay. The third scenario does happen a lot because there are a lot of excited people in this world. So if you find yourself in this scenario where people are just simply talking too much, this is what you're gonna do. First of all, the best way to deal with this is in the beginning of your workshop, right? Is to present something I like to call, well, that's because it's its name, the time timer. It's not that I like to call it that, that is its actual name. So the time timer, you're gonna present this and you're gonna say, so when we have open discussion or I ask a question from the group, I'm gonna always allow a certain amount of time for people to talk. And when that buzzer goes off, we're gonna need to move on, okay? And setting that up as an expectation at the beginning of your workshop is just going to basically make sure that these difficult scenarios of people going on and on and on and talking forever don't actually even get to happen, right? So it's a little bit of a move that you'll do earlier on in your session, but it's gonna help you throughout the entire thing. Now, if you still have people who are talking for a really long time and over talking their welcome, then what you're gonna say is, it's so great that you are excited to contribute. I'm really happy about that. I just want us to be aware that in order to achieve everything that we've set out to do today, we are gonna have to be really strict with our agenda and stick to those times. So I'm gonna have to cut you off if you go, past your allotted speaking time. So by saying that, you were acknowledging the fact that they are excited, and it's not a bad thing, it's a really positive thing. So you don't want to, just tell them to stop talking because then they might just stop contributing altogether. So acknowledging that you're happy that they're excited to contribute, but blaming the process. That's like one of my favorite things to do. You're going to blame the time that you have with them. You're going to blame the process that you are running. So it's like, in order for us to get through all of the steps, we really have to stick to our times, right? That is the best way. That shifts the blame from you. It's not you that doesn't want to hear what they have to say. It's the process. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 3 scenarios and 3 things you can do when you need people to shut up. And probably you can take these scenarios outside of workshops if you want to. Important thing is that you always remember to acknowledge and then to explain, right? So acknowledge what they're saying, acknowledge, the fact that they are excited to be there, acknowledge the fact that they maybe don't believe in the exercise of the process, right? Always acknowledge. That really helps you maintain this level of trust with your participants, which is absolutely where you want to be. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a little like. If you have any questions, follow-ups, anything like that, I'd love to hear absolutely anything and everything in the comments below. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would literally make my entire day. So do that, please. And otherwise, I'll see you next time in another workshop, facilitation, anything within that umbrella type of video. Thank you very much, everybody. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. Sayonara. Au revoir. How else can you say bye? No, I've got nothing. That's it. Okay, bye.